that is a challenge. It's a huge challenge, because everything begins with audience. And again, if you have, one set of investors or one team sitting in front of you, great. But what happens if you have, you're at a big conference, which I'm sure many of your listeners take part in, or you have rooms full of people at different places, different levels of knowledge. It's very, very, very challenging. And again, we're back to, I suppose, first of all, the reality is you cannot please everybody and you can't talk to everybody. So again, that's a fact. That's the first thing. So then we're back to the first thing I would do in that situation. If I'm working with someone one-to-one or in a group, I'd say to them, okay, let's try and identify, well, firstly, what you're trying to achieve. And then within that room, can we identify, as I mentioned, the converted, the unconvertible, and the floaters? To give an example of this, say you are a business leader communicating a change. So you've people in the company a long time, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're introducing a whole new way of doing something. And you have to communicate this message to a big 100 people. So before you begin that presentation, you will have to acknowledge that, there may be a small percentage of people in that room who they've been with the company a long time. No matter what you do or say, they're not going to buy into this new way of doing things. And actually, they're probably more likely to leave than they are to, start doing this the new way. So you may possibly have a very small percentage of unconvertibles. Equally, you may have some people in the room, I don't know, there might be a handful of people that have already been involved in the training. They know what it's all about. They're all on board with it. So then you're left with, again, what I call your floaters. So these are the people you need to get them converted. So within that group, you're going to have to look at the levels of knowledge. And the bottom line is, if you're unsure, you have to start right at the beginning. So if you're unsure, you have to go right back to basics. And again, I know this can be challenging, again, especially if you are an expert or if you've been involved in something for quite a few months, for someone to say, well, actually, you're going to need to go right back and explain the acronym. And they're going to be like, I do not need to explain the acronym. And you're like, but you do. Because there's going to be someone in that room that has never read the emails properly, that hasn't seen a presentation on it, that you think knows all about this, but actually wasn't even paying attention because they didn't even know it had anything to do with them. So with a mixed audience, again, you need to identify your converted, your unconvertible, and your floaters. And then within your floaters, you have to figure out the level of knowledge. But to be safe, what I would always say is start with the lowest level of knowledge.